What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel.
Let's look at Michigan State following 7-6 and 5-4 in the Big Ten in 2018, a season where there were high expectations considering, depending on your depth chart, 20 or 21 of 22 starters came back from 2017. And with all that experience, back from a 10-3 squad in 2017, much expected of Michigan State, but the offense was deplorable. This was the 116th rated offense in college football last season in total offense at 342 yards per game. The number 126 out of 130 FBS teams. Number 126 in points per game. Yes, Michigan State was playing some of the best defenses in the country, at times against the likes of Michigan, Northwestern, and some decent defenses like Arizona State, Utah State, Penn State, and others, but just an awful showing out of Michigan State. They lost 9-6 to Nebraska, for example. All right, and checking out the green and white game, you've got a new offensive coordinator in play in Brad Salem, who takes over after taking over the quarterbacks previously, and then you've got a new quarterback coach in Dave Warner. So Mark D'Antonio basically believes here that Warner is the guy that fits better in tutoring the quarterbacks. He is more isolated on quarterback play and developing that position, while Salem's got more of a feel for the offense, the scheme, the play calling, and so they make the change there. All right, again, the offense in 2018, just deplorable. But there were some excuses that are somewhat valid. Quarterback Brian Lewerke coming off a nice 2017 season. Brian Lewerke had a bum shoulder. His shoulder was shot last season. He tried to play through it. Rocky Lombardi was used for 3 starts. Lewerke started the other 10 games for Michigan State. Only 8 touchdown passes out of Lewerke last season with 11 interceptions. Lombardi chipped in his 3 starts with 3 touchdown passes and 3 picks. So the TD to interception ratio has to get much better for Michigan State this year, 11-14 in 2018. All right, the wide receiver unit was very deep but ravaged. A lot of guys got hurt, including top receiver Felton Davis, who has moved on. And then, of course, L.J. Scott, who was one of the leading rushers in the Big Ten over his entire 4-year career in East Lansing. Well, he also has moved on as well. L.J. Scott really burst onto the scene in 2015, was one of the best backs in the Big Ten, and his career never really took off, although he was certainly a top 10 rusher in Michigan State history. Only one offensive player played all 13 games and started and played through without being nicked up. Multiple injuries across the offensive line, and again, the wide receivers, and nobody was unscathed, excluding one offensive lineman out of an offense that finished 116 in the country. All right, so you would think that there might be a quarterback competition since Rocky Lombardi's a little bit more mobile. Brian Lewerke certainly mobile, but Lombardi a better runner. And the offensive stats were somewhat similar last year. Lewerke at 54%. Lombardi only completed 44% of his passes. But Mark D'Antonio has said it the entire spring, Lewerke is the man. And if you take everything into consideration, the injury that he suffered to his shoulder certainly affected his throwing in a huge way. And the offensive injuries, Lewerke, you got to take his offensive production into consideration. 14 of 20 on this day for 181 yards. He was helped out by a Connor Hayward 50-yard screen pass that went all of that yardage, so he was helped out there. He did throw a beautiful corner route touchdown on the second drive of the game to Darrell Stewart Jr. Perfect pass to the corner, beat the defensive back, laid it right in there, and really had to zip the ball from what was close to the right hash all the way across the field. Michigan State could be really good on offense. Again, if they stay healthy. You got the quarterback Lewerke back, the leading rusher in Hayward back, the 2 top wide receivers in Cody White and Stewart back, all 5 starting offensive linemen back from last season. All right, Lewerke would have had another touchdown pass, but Josiah Scott, one of the best cornerbacks in the Big Ten, stripped the ball away from the receiver, Sowards, before it could be hauled in for the touchdown reception. For as bad as the offense was, the defense was that good last season. They held Justin Herbert in the bowl game to 7 points, 1 touchdown. They held out and down Dwayne Haskins and the Ohio State offense. Michigan only scored 21 points despite the Michigan State offense continually giving them 3 plays and out and great field position. The Michigan State defense was rock solid, especially against the run last year, and finishing 14th in the nation in yardage given up and 13th in points surrendered. The defensive line should be stellar once again. Just about everybody's coming back. Kenny Willekes was held out of the spring game, but he should be fine and set and ready to go. One of the best players in the Big Ten, 20.5 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks last season. You also have a tremendous secondary that should be in play. Josiah Scott, as we mentioned, and also Josh Butler, the senior, both are back. Kalon Irvin, he's a player that was the second-rated player in Michigan, number 20 rated cornerback in all of high school football, according to 247 Sports. A guy that we interviewed just a few years ago when he was about a sophomore in high school. So you can search for that interview with Kalon Gervin, the freshman cornerback out of Cass Tech in Michigan. He was impressive as he vies for that third cornerback job. The defense forced 4 turnovers. Safety Xavier Henderson appears to be filling one of the starting spots in the secondary, and also redshirt freshman Jeslord Brotang was also impressive. Lewerke basically faced the second-team defense, and Rocky Lombardi, unfortunately for him and his stat total of 9 for 22, had to face the number 1 defense surrounded by the number 2 offense. Mark Antonio did make sure on 2 drives that Rocky Lombardi was supplemented by the number 1 offense, but little done by Rocky Lombardi, although in addition to 9 for 22 and 1 interception, 119 yards passing, he did throw a beautiful against the grain, running left, touchdown pass to Stewart in which he lofted the ball over the defender perfectly, but out of 22 passes, that was certainly the one gem. Michigan State starts off with Tulsa in week 1. It appears as Brian Lewerke is definitely the starter. He was the better quarterback on this day. The defense will once again be stellar under the leadership of Joe Bocci at linebacker. The leading tackler is back from 2018. And again, the playmakers, 2 top wide receivers, top 5 offensive linemen, Connor Hayward at running back, are back for Michigan State too. They almost have to improve offensively from 18 points per game and number 116 in the nation in yardage at 342 per contest. Your thoughts on Michigan State football? Maybe you caught the spring game. If not, certainly it was not anything to behold. Again, the more that these spring games become scrimmages and non-contact drills, although Michigan State went at it in terms of tackling today, the more that you need to gather from the entirety of spring and put it into context as we head toward August camp.
Thank you for watching this video. If you're a Big Ten football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in Big Ten football, keep it right here.